With us, we are also joined by Shishir from Mumbai. Shishir, I believe you have Mr. Anant Singhania there with you, the President of the Indian Merchants Chamber. Go ahead.
Well, absolutely. Shreya, Gaurav was asking me just a few minutes back that exactly what corporates thinking about the budget here, and the Indian Merchant Chambers is actually bridging the gap between the government and the industry, and probably what are the industry is expecting and the suggestions they try to convey to the government. Right now we have with us Anant Singhania, the President of the Indian Merchant Chamber with us. So there has been a lot of expectation from the industry from this particular budget here. What exactly the aspect that the corporate sector is looking forward and the industry is looking forward from this budget?
So I think for India to grow at the way it is planned at 7% as per projected as per the economic survey, this is quite similar to what World Bank has projected at 6.9. And for 23-24, the economic survey is projecting India at 6.5% growth. For India to grow, a couple of things are very important. First of all, the capital expenditure is very important for it to happen. Against a budget of about 7.5 lakh crores, government has spent around 5 lakh crores. I presume that they may be not able to spend all of it to reduce the fiscal deficit. But capital expenditure is very important for the growth of the country. There's a cascading effect that happens when capital expenditure is spent, because for every rupee spent, it's almost 4 times the consumption can go up. That's the numbers that are there. So that's number one. Number two is that the PLI scheme has been very favorable. It's already been extended to about 14-15 sectors. It needs to be perhaps extended to further sectors. There are a couple of sectors which require support from the government where PLI scheme should be extended. That's the second thing. The third aspect that corporate India is looking at, or let's say consumption based, is that some kind of subsidy the Aam Aadmi, so that they will have more money in their pocket, so they can spend more and consumption can go up. These three things are very important. Also for India to grow from 7% and hopefully up to 9-10% that India requires, to go from 3.5 trillion to 5 and then to 10 and then eventually to about 30 trillion in the next 25 years, a couple of states have to be the outliers. About 8-10 states need to actually grow at 15 to 18%, so that it will take the overall India growth story to the numbers that are there. And quite frankly, that's very possible because India has got a very large domestic demand. The fact that we have digitized India in a very short period of time, it's a game changer for India.
But what do you believe that looking at this kind of the move by the government here, we have seen here that the government is more focused on the growth path rather than focusing on a fiscal deficit, probably a good sign for the Indian corporates?
So I think if you look at credit offtake has been quite high. Overall credit offtake is up by 15%, but if you look at the SME space, it's up by 30%. So when you look at corporate India, we are looking at availability of credit, because that has been one of the major challenges for growth. Cost-effective credit, availability of credit, ease of doing business is another very important aspect, and reduction of compliance, because the amount of time corporates are spending on compliance, the time spent has gone up significantly.
Alright, so Shishir, Gautam here just wanted to, if you could ask Mr. Singhania a question for me.
Then yes.
Shishir just wanted to, Mr. Singhania mentioned that he wants some measure, the FM to take some measure which will put more money and keep demand going as far as people are concerned. But the trade-off there could be that more demand and more money in people's hands could lead to inflation, and that would mean higher interest rates, because that's one tool that is there in the hand of our regulators and others to ensure that prices don't go too high. So won't that be bad then for the industry?
And statistics.
Well, yes, budget making is essentially a balancing act. The finance minister and the government collectively is like a trapeze artist, because if it gives too much to one side, then it has to take away from the other, and that's what we were talking about with Shishir. Shishir, I had tossed a question to you for Mr. Singhania. Please go ahead.
Well, absolutely, Gautam. The same question that we continue. So that when you talk about giving more money into the hands of people, but at the same time we have seen the number, inflation number, which we have seen has already gone up. What the RBI's upper limit is. How do you strike a balance? It will flare up the inflation as if we give more money into the market?
So I think there has to be a balance between inflation in terms of money availability and growth. So that's a trade-off that is always going to be the case. The issue is that today the world markets, if you look at the uncertainty in the global markets, that's going to cause it's going to put a lot of pressure on exports. As a result, I think that the prices of products will come down, because when exporters are not able to export because of the lack of demand or lack of the uncertainty in the European markets because of the Ukraine crisis, even America being where it is. If you look at world growth for 23-24 is projected at 3%. India is at 6.5 to 7%, 6.5%. So India is going to go twice the size, in terms of it. So when India is going to grow, it will need this to export, and therefore there will be a pressure, and therefore I think prices may actually become a little softer in the domestic market with the international pressure on exports.
My last question to you is that, because just a few minutes now left for the budget here, we'll know exactly what the numbers are in terms of taxation also and the policies are concerned. But as far as the economic survey numbers are concerned, it will definitely give breather to the Indian economy. And being a corporate from India, the GDP numbers, especially we have seen here that the service sectors have also gone up. Of course, the manufacturing have seen a quite dampener mood here, but again, agriculture is on a silver lining here. Again, have seen quite a good growth here. What are the sectors are telling you, and these numbers are telling you?
If you look at it, I was mentioning earlier, the GST numbers at 1,155,000 crores, which is a huge number. It's the second highest thing if you look at that. If you look at overall tax collection has gone up by 23%. These are numbers which are showing very favorable. So I think going forward, I think that the growth numbers should be met, provided the government works on two areas. One is on the capital spending, the disinvestment target. We've been talking about it for last 2 years. It's not really happened. That disinvestment has to happen. It will bring money into this. The third issue is about the petroleum subsidy. They had projected 1 lakh crores. I think they will end at about 2 lakh crores. That's a cause of concern to balance out the fiscal deficit.
Thank you for talking to us. Well, Gautam, that's what exactly the mood and expectation that we've tried to walk from the corporate world here on different sectors here. But of course, the picture looked quite optimistic, what the numbers we've seen yesterday also, and certain things that probably we need to work more on it. That's what the corporate India is saying.
All right, Shishir, stay with us, and we will talk about this further as well, because it's just about almost 10 o'clock now, so about an hour to go for the union budget to be presented in Parliament by the Finance Minister. We have our guests with us. We also have Anubrata with us in Kolkata at that regional office of CII. Anubrata, what are you hearing in terms of the kind of expectations we heard from the Indian Merchant Chambers? What is